Welcome back. Still, you're watching Pan-African Television, and this is Good Morning Africa, the newspaper review segment right here on the, the TV station. Of course, I'll take you through the topics of discussion and later introduce my guest. And what are we talking about today? We are looking at the UN condemns castration for rapists in Nigeria. Daily Graphic story on page 5. COVID-19 fight in limbo as government collects pickup trucks from NCCA for campaign activities. The inside story on front page continues on page 3. Akufo-Addo has lost the fight against armed robbery. Daily Post story on pages 6 and 7. And proliferation of small arms, lack of confidence in security agencies cause. The informer story on page 3. 6 Galamseyers killed in mine pit at Edum Banso. Ghanaian Times story on page 3. And I thought that government says they've ended that menacing problem. I'm talking about Galamsey. Unfortunately, it's so ongoing and people are dying. We'll delve into those topics properly. We'll discuss them, put the issues in proper perspective. Let me remind you that the program is streamed live on Facebook at Pan-African Television, also live on YouTube at Pan-African Television. It is very interactive. You can leave your comments, suggestions, questions, and whatnot on our social media pages. We'll make a time and read all those stuff for you. You can as well connect with us via our WhatsApp / text line on 026084 6539 026084 6539. Once again, I'm sitting in for my brother Kwame Osudanso, and my name is Justice Appiah. I've been joined in the studio by Benjamin Nsia. He is a member of the Convention People's Party, CPP. Akuko CPP. Benjamin Nsia is right here with us in the studio. Also in the studio is Idrisu Salisu, NAPCO Greater Accra Regional Monitoring and Evaluation Officer. He's also a member of the New Patriotic Party communications team. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, Justice.
We are expecting Honorable Alhaji Appiah Hussaini right here in the studio, Member of Parliament for Sagnarigo constituency. As and when he joins us, he will be part of the panel. But let me start with you, Benjamin, on the African story. UN condemns castration for rapists in Nigeria.
Thank you, Justice. I think it's a sad story. It's a story Africans should not encourage. Right, we live in our socio, cultural, and demographic continent with various dynamics and demographies. In as much as I'll condemn raping, I'll condemn it outrightly as a bad habit or something we should not promote. I'll also condemn these acts of maybe castrating people. I think castration simply means taking out someone's testicles, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't actually kill the something, but maybe it makes you impotent and you cannot produce sperms. And so when you castrate someone, I don't think that you are ending the manners of not being able to rape, right? I think I support you in condemning it outrightly. It's not the best for Africa. We need alternatives in solving the issues of rape in this particular part of our country. In any way, I think Nigeria over the recent years has had its own share of these kind of religious imposition on their constitutional matters. I think this is happening up north Nigeria, which is the Kaduna state. And Kaduna state is known to be, or the northern part of Nigeria is known to be a state that use kind of Sharia as part of their constitutional affairs or constitutional.
But I believe that's a form of punishment to serve as a deterrent to other people who may want to engage in such acts.
Yes, I think I said it earlier that I condemn it outrightly, that raping is not the best. But you don't penalize a rapist with castration. That is what I believe in. We may have alternative because people change. Justice. Someone can rape someone today, but through corrective means, the fellow changes and becomes a better person, contributing productively to society, right? But when you put in a law that let's hang, let's castrate, let's kill, I think you lose the sight of the fellow's productivity in future. And that's why we, as an alternative person who believes in correction, still believes that a rapist may end up being a good person. We've all had history where we had some people where we all thought were bad, and the names are there, but later they change and become pastors or whatever in future and contributing positively to society.
Okay.
So when we say that someone is a rapist, so we should castrate or hang or kill, as we are seeing in the northern part of Nigeria, which I think they are taking this inspiration from a Sharia. It's not the best for our continent. In other way, our continent, if you go historically or culturally, we may have alternative ways of solving this particular issue, which may not be based on someone's way of solving it. You know, I've always maintained that Africa should start to begin to think inwardly and indigenously about ourselves, who we are, and how to promote us than promoting someone's culture and someone's belief system and thinking that applying those belief systems in our continent will be the best for us. I think I condemn it, and I support you entirely in condemning this outright thing. We need alternative ways. I think Ghana has some of the laws that when you rape, I think you are supposed to go in prison for 25 years.
Yeah.
Right? In prison for 25 years, you can change. The last time I checked, one armed robber we had in this country by name Appiah or whatever. The last time I checked, he's now a pastor.
Has he really changed?
He's changed. Oh, people interview him and they say, "Oh, Pastor Appiah, Pastor Appiah." Yes, which means morally, he's regretted all his actions he did earlier and now contributing positively into society. So it should not be killing. I support that. Raping someone, even though
castration is cannot be equated to killing.
Yeah, castration is not killing, but actually it makes you impotent. And Africa Justice, you are with me. We don't support that. Even though we are against rape, we don't also support that people who rape should be killed or burnt or castrated.
Maybe when you are castrated next time, I mean, you would not even think of probably getting close to a woman, not to even have the thought of raping.
You see, when you go emotional way, right? When you go emotional way, your answer may be right. But I'm thinking that sometimes people who rape people have psychological challenges. Especially those who defile. They have psychological challenges that we must ensure that if you have proper mental health system, some of these things should be taken care of before putting the fellow in a correctional home to change the fellow for the productivity. Me, I believe in changing people. People can change anyway. When we change them, we now think of how productive they'll be in society.
But you can still change after you are castrated.
No, you see, when you are castrated, right, the challenge is that justice, when you are castrated, it makes you impotent, right? And the castration may not even solve the issue of raping. I hope you get it, because, I don't know, maybe Idris is a scientist, but when they castrate you, I believe that it is about not producing sperms to be able to procreate. But I think the thing still works. Right, unless just maybe you educate me.
The scientists will be in the best position
to, but I think the thing still works.
It still works, or it doesn't.
Okay, if the thing still works, that means there's no sense in castrating. I hope you get it. So we need to correct them. We need to cite them that what they are doing is not the best, but not to put them to death. Because when you put someone to death, the fellow's contribution in future, we may lose it. Okay. That is my view, and I think I support UN in condemning it outrightly. Castration is not the best thing for those people. They rather need correction.
All right, thank you so much, Benjamin, for your submission. Well, viewers, you can keep your messages coming in on 0260-846539, 0260-846539. Do you support rapists being castrated? Do you support that, or you do not? UN has condemned that it's happening in Nigeria, and UN has outrightly condemned, rapists being castrated. But in our settings and the way and manner people rape others, is it a right thing to castrate them? Keep your messages coming in. I'll make a time and read all those out for you. It is Idrisu.
Yes, Justice.
Yeah.
Good morning to you. Good morning to my brother. And let me extend courtesies to the good people of Ghana.
Very well.
The New Patriotic Party. Indeed, I think that, first of all, let me say that in Tamale Central Constituency, where the CEO of Nation Builders Corps is contesting Dr. Ibrahim Anyas Barhama. Indeed, I want to wish him well. Today, as we speak, he is currently in a door-to-door, campaign in one of the electoral areas in the constituency. I think that his bid to rescue, or if you like, to save the good people of Tamale Central is very, very important going into this particular 2020 election.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
I think that the policies and programs that he has actually elected himself to do for the good people of Tamale Central is enough justification to demonstrate his commitment and willingness to serve the good people of Tamale Central constituency. I think that the issue that you have tabled is a very, passionate and critical issue.
Okay.
Especially so when we have to look at the human dignity aspect of us, because the United Nations Organization and its charter have actually, as it were, and of course, countries across the globe have adopted the United Nations protocols on human rights and dignity and so on and so on. So I think that I don't want to say it is an antiquated kind of, if you like, behavior that authorities have actually done. But I think there is, this particular saying, even, and of course it is a coinage in Nigeria that they normally would say an erected penis has no conscience. But I don't know whether or not it can fit into this particular, as it were, issue. Because I think that people almost always take things for granted so long as they think that there seems to be a laxity of implementation of law. So for that matter, they would do anything and believing that they are going to, as it were, get away with it. These are the conundrum that is actually plaguing humanity today. Because in the first place, I'm not holding brief for the person who actually did the rape, but the penal measures that has been meted out to that person is also, for want of a better expression, is just too draconian. Because how on earth would you want to, would you, as it were, castrate somebody? To castrate somebody means that you are taking his human dignity away from him. But I am not also in any way justifying the rape that the person has committed. So I think that all in all, we have to understand that we need to respect human dignity. We need to make sure that anything that had to do with, governance, rule of law, etc., etc., Africa needs to demonstrate this particular commitment. We don't need to even, wait for, for the international community to start, making pointers that these are the kind of places, or if you like, these are the sort of procedures that you must follow in order that you are able to keep this particular, issues happening in, what is it called, in all facets of our society. So I think that I would want to join hands, just as my brother, to commend, the United Nations Organization, for, as it were, coming out to, call for, for some kind of, some kind of, for want of a better expression, I don't know how to say, but I trust that it is about time that Africans try to also see how best they would be able to portray themselves in a better light, so that we will not be seen as examples that cannot, no one would be proud of to be speaking as an African. So all in all, these are basically what I'm going to say. But of course, I cannot also shy away from the fact that there seems to be a particular, if you like, a deliberate attempt in one way or the other, to project certain negativities happening within African continent by the Western world. So for me, I think that it's about time we Africans to try to project the good image of Africa, you understand, so that at the end of the day, we will be seen as it were, people who are actually very poised for, to develop going into this particular 21st century. I think this is basically what I would say.
All right, thank you so much. Let's come back home and then deal with COVID-19 fight in limbo as government collects pickups tracks from NCCA for campaign activities. Story captured on front page and continues on page 3 of the Inside newspaper. I'll start with you once again, Benjamin.
Yes, yes.
I believe that any fight, as we call it in Ghana, or any activity or program or any project government embarks on, or any idea that government implements, I believe that the outcome of that particular idea is the most important thing.
Okay.
Right. So if government says, I'm fighting corona, what is the outcome? Is the outcome real with us? And this way, I want us to measure this particular outcome with death. Because death is an important thing that when someone dies, we are losing our human resource or any other thing. Because when someone also dies, in as much as we are losing the human resource, we are also we are increasing dependency on others, because the fellow might have been taking care of people before that particular demise. Justice, I've always maintained that this government has not done well with this corona fight. And that is the real facts. If you take the death of the 3 countries closer to us, our neighboring countries, first of all, Ghana is the 3rd in terms of death. In West Africa, Ghana is the 3rd. If you take out Nigeria, Senegal, Ghana becomes the 3rd with about 310 deaths. If you take the 3 in our immediate environment, Togo, Burkina Faso, and Cote d'Ivoire, if you put their total death together, Ghana is still leading them. If you put the total death of Burkina Faso, Togo, and then Cote d'Ivoire together, you sum up to 235. As we are speaking, the total cases or the total death as a result of corona in Ghana is 310. Now, being 310 tells you that government's policies or government programs towards fighting this corona has not given us a better outcome. Unless someone is telling me here that the death will have increased if government has not taken out certain measures. So it tells you that the measures government have taken have not actually yielded results compared to our neighboring country, compared to Togo. Togo has 51 deaths. Burkina Faso has 63 deaths. And then Cote d'Ivoire has 121 deaths. It tells you that their measures are quite better than our measures. Now, why are we saying, why I believe our measures have not been forthcoming or have not been positive, is that when we all started this, bearing in mind that we don't have to measure the death cases or the seriousness in cases with or comparing them to the West. Justice. The West has its own demography. Apart from demography, they have their own climate conditions, right? And I think research has shown us that this particular virus dwells well in certain climatic and demographic conditions.
Okay.
One is that the Western world has a demography of aged population, right? Apart from their aged population, they also have a temperate weather or temperate climate that actually this particular virus can inhibit well in this particular climate. Now, this Western world are also people who also take certain, let me say, alcoholic kind of drinks, beer and other things, and smoke a lot. And this particular illness also this particular virus also shows us that the science says that it does well, or like it kills people who take other alcoholic or drug substances. It kills them because it attacks their cardiovascular or whatever, their heart and other things. So when people say that, oh, America people are dying too much, Italy people are dying, Spain people are dying too much. No, we shouldn't measure ourselves with those people because they have different climate and a different demographic because they are aged people there. Let's measure ourselves with those like us, and those like us are the Togo, the Burkina Faso, and the Cote d'Ivoire. Ghanaians have died more. So it tells you that our government did not fight this corona well. Now let me also put in instance. When we started this corona fight, people started saying that, oh, government implement what we called, government implemented a policy called tracing, contact tracing. The contact tracing, we heard and on the ground that people were not actually paid properly, so they stopped. So government came out and said, oh, we started contact tracing, was doing what was doing. Later, Yamutu, how just we say Yamutu means people stopped because payment or compensation for their particular activity was not coming. What the CPP called for earlier was public education, and using the state institution to educate and create awareness on this particular virus. We realized that at a point in time, the NCC cried for funds to educate Ghanaians on this particular virus, right? The funds was not coming. We also heard that people were saying that they were paid 100 cedis. Districts were given 100 cedis. NCC districts or district offices were given only 100 cedis to propagate a kind of communication against this particular virus or create awareness about this particular virus. You realize that? So that is that the government of the day did not actually put interest or did not show interest in telling Ghanaians or educating Ghanaians about this particular virus. So you've seen that at the end of the day, the death cases have increased compared to our neighboring countries. Now, apart from this, you are telling me today that government has started taking or has started pulling back the resources given earlier, which informed the CAS to NCCs. It tells you that government is not serious in fighting this battle. Government is not actually serious in fighting it because government itself has committed so many times errors in terms of fighting this battle. My brother, we've seen the president and some ministers campaigning, right? You see the population, the masses that gather without nose masks, without any protocol, coronavirus protocol, observed. The president himself meet people without these protocols. So now the president has come to realize that, oh, it's not even important for NCC to hold these vehicles. And by the way, where are these vehicles being sent to? Right? So it tells you that this government is not ready to fight in this particular battle. They just make this propaganda outside there that, oh, government has fought this battle, government is fighting this battle. But the death cases in this country are telling us that government is not fighting the battle. And this one we are speaking to science and data from the World Health Organization. Right? So my brother, it's sad that government has taken back or has taken the vehicles given to NCC to fight this particular corona pandemic. I think that is not a good call. Government should rescind its decision by allowing the NCC to educate as much, because we've also seen data of resurgent or maybe, let me say, countries facing other like kind of resurgent in other countries. Corona has I think just as I read somewhere where I'm told, I think the paper says that countries like, is it Italy or Spain? They've seen cases, new cases on the increase, right? It tells you that we are not done with corona. So government should not take these vehicles from NCC and rather encourage NCC with much funds to go on the grounds and educate Ghanaians that we are not. Because the last time I checked, this particular government also told us that people do not even take the wearing of nose mask seriously, including myself sitting here, right? People do not take the wearing of nose mask seriously. People think that corona is over, but it is not over. And people are thinking corona is over because of the government propaganda in handling this particular corona pandemic, right? Yes. And I think and still insist that the vehicles should be given to NCC to continue their mandate in educating us, because education is only the means by which government can fight this coronavirus properly and adequately.
Thank you so much, Benjamin, for your submission. You are still watching Good Morning Africa right here on Pan-African Television, and we've been joined in the studio by Honorable Member of Parliament for Sagnarego constituency, Alhaji Appiah Fuseni. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to your good self, and good morning to.
Before you entered, we dealt with the very first story. That's the African story, which says UN condemns castration for rapists in Nigeria. I want you to take care of that for us, and then you follow by COVID-19 fight in limbo as government collects pickup trucks from NCCE for campaign activities.
Okay. Let me say good morning again to your good self. A good morning to my colleagues here. I can see the MPP emblem and Idrisu protocol on it. And then my brother from the CPP for the eloquent delivery. Let me, of course, salute your crew, our viewers out there, and the Burkina people of the Sagnarego constituency.
Exactly.
I salute them every day. They are men and women of integrity.
Very well.
Justice, I'm sure that the issue of rape itself is a monumental crime. No doubt about it. If somebody goes to have carnal knowledge of somebody without the consent of the person, obviously it constitutes a crime. And I think that first and foremost, I think the crime of rape must be condemned in no uncertain terms.
Okay.
Anybody who engages in that despicable act must expect to receive a punishment commensurate with that heinous level of the crime. Yes, but whether in the language of human rights and fundamental freedoms, it constitutes castration is commensurate with the commission of that crime is very arguable. Human rights activists will tell you that maybe that would be excessive. In Islam, we say that when somebody slaps you, you have a right to slap back. But you can only slap the person to the extent of the slap the person gave you. So if I give you a slap and you are on your feet and you slap me heftily and I'm on the ground, it's disproportionate. You have engaged in a crime. You have exceeded the limits of your rights. So in Islam, they tell you that if you are patient and you say that you leave it to the Almighty Allah, you have a better reward. Okay. So Islam encourages proportionality, committing things in proportional measures. So the issue as to whether rapists should be castrated or not is something that obviously must inure to the benefit of society, so that punishment is given in commensurate terms according to the crime level of the crime that has been committed.
But we have capital punishment meted out in some instances.
Yes. As for instance,
you think that when it comes to rape, such punishment shouldn't be meted out?
Yeah, because for instance, if you deprive somebody of his life, and it is proven that you have deprived that person of his life, it may be seen to be fair because you killed somebody, and so your life be taken.
Rapes have also led to the death of
so I'm saying that, that's why I'm saying that that's why in law they make a distinction. They have this actus reus and those who have done law. The mens rea and the actus reus. They look at your intention. Was it your intention to kill? If you point a gun at somebody and you shoot him, you can't tell somebody that you didn't have the intention to kill the person. It could be different. I'm not in any way. I've already indicated that rape is a monumental crime,
exactly,
and has to be condemned for what it is. If you go to rape somebody, obviously you are committing a huge crime. You must pay for it. But I'm saying that a rapist may not be equated to a killer. Somebody who shoots and kills somebody is not something. And I think that I should have even started from that angle. Ever since we started, I don't think we had the opportunity to come and comment on the beastly, unspeakable crime that was committed against
the member of parliament,
our colleague Eko. Eko was a first-class gentleman, and for this thing to have happened, it's despicable to the highest. And it's I believe that every measure must be taken to apprehend the perpetrators, for them to be dealt with. There's no place in our democracy for this kind of beastly conduct. Our democracy should be anchored on decent discourse, so that better ideas in governing this nation would emerge for all of us to do so. So I wish the wife and the immediate family my deep-seated condolence, and may Allah Almighty have mercy on his soul. But coming back to this, I think that, like I said, every country adopts laws to meet certain exigencies of the time. If maybe Nigeria is adopting this for the purposes of using it as a deterrent to rapists, it's possible that I don't know the level of crime, the crime of rape that has gone on in Nigeria. It could be that it has escalated. So maybe the government wants to send a signal to rapists and would-be rapists that it is something that will be expensive to engage in. And so if you do that, you will be castrated. And I'm sure that no man would want to be castrated. So the signal should be very clear.
All right.
Like I said, I don't know what Nigeria wants to intend, but human rights activists and others will come and say it's a brutal form of punishment and other things. But you also consider the brutal pain that these rapists went to inflict on them. So that's why I talk of proportionality. The law must always be proportional in meting out punishment in commensurate with the crime.
And some even rape as young as 5 years, 4 years girls and all of that.
So that one is defilement. And I think that too, especially those who do that kind of thing, you ask yourself whether in actual fact they are normal.
Exactly.
5 year or 6 year or 7 year an infant, a child. What mental state is a person in to do such things to such a baby? I'm sure those people are really sick. There must be some form of psychiatric examination of those who do those kinds of things. Yeah, so that one, I think that it's a straightforward matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
COVID-19 fight in limbo as government collects pickup trucks from NCC for campaign activities.
See, Justice, I've always said it. If a house has fallen, you don't ask whether the roof is still standing. From the very word go, this government had not demonstrated a serious attitude to fighting COVID. Starting from the presidency itself. And I remember, Justice, go back to March 12th or 13th, when we had the first 2 cases. The Norwegian envoy, you remember?
Yeah,
and I think it said a Turkish businessman.
Yeah.
They went out with the president. And when they came out, that was when the first tests were done and the first 2 cases were recorded. And according to WHO protocols, these are not protocols initiated by Ghana or any other country.
Honorable, hold that thought briefly. I need to go and sell. We're supposed to go for a break at 9. Okay. Let me go for a quick break. I'll be back shortly.
Breakfast your day. Every day. Every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Breakfast your day. Every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Good Morning Africa right here on Pan African Television. Keep your messages coming in on 02684 6539 02684 6539. You can as well leave your comments, suggestions and whatnot on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram and on Twitter at Pan African Television. I'll take or make a time to read all those messages out for you. So let me now go to Honorable Appiah Husseini. He was making a very important point. The Honorable can go ahead.
Yes. Justice, I was saying it from the point of view that any such fight, the attitude and conduct of leadership is critical. It's decisive to a successful onslaught. So in countries where you've seen a very aggressive combat and successes chalked up on the front of the fight against COVID-19, leadership has been central. And I was mentioning that when the president went out with the 2 people and they came out and they tested positive, I remember we issued a statement in Parliament urging that the president, in accordance with WHO protocols, should quarantine for 14 days. Is that not what is this?
Exactly.
It didn't happen. He was mingling with the population. So at that time, we didn't know the status. And these people had also mingled and contact tracing had started. So from 2 cases, it ballooned. Justice, the Gumbers have a saying that if you hear the hyena howling in the neighborhood and the goat gets busy, you don't ask who caught it again. It is clear. Okay? And so the cases started ballooning. And so where will the responsibility be traced to? Now come and look at the fight itself. Like I said, from the onset, we didn't have contact tracing. So those who had come into contact with those who had contacted the disease were not traced, and they also went into the society. Now our borders, it took a lot of time. From March 12th, go back and find out when was our borders closed. When were the airports? When was the airport actually closed to traffic from abroad for people who were coming in? Just it took us more than a month, and so people were still coming, and so the more they entered, the more they brought in the disease. Okay. Third, it took us a long time to take a decision as to what to do, whether to lock down or not to lock down. And eventually, when we decided to lock down, we did it in a haphazard manner, very, very incompetent manner in which we did it. Justice, we said that it was only Accra, Kumasi, Accra and East Environs, and then what they call Greater Kumasi. Okay, so the announcement was made, and people, justice, who were supposed to screened to have their status determined before they move out. People moved out. Justice, those who even had it unknowingly moved into other parts of the country. Without any requisite checks. And I remember even the issue that had to do with our sisters, the Kai, which happened. Justice. So sooner than later, the cases started ballooning out of proportion. And I remember when the situation almost came to a head. Justice, Parliament, we had been on the side. Parliament was reconvened for us to come and approve funds for government to work on COVID-19. Okay, we came and billions of Ghana cedis was approved, apart from the 1 billion IMF loan. Notwithstanding the fact that this is a government that condemned interaction with IMF, and they are lying prostrate before IMF to go and even take money for coronavirus. Okay, now all these monies were taken. Just look at how this government spent the money. You remember we were told that even for the 2 weeks lockdown, they spent over how much? Over 240 million Ghana cedis.
Exactly.
You remember?
Yeah.
And we asked them, how was the money spent? Even those, just as I sitting here, I had to go and respond to my sisters from the north.
I was there.
Yes, I'm sure you came to cover it.
I was there.
At Boboshi. They had indicated that part of the food that they were sending had been sent to Agbogbolishi. No food was sent there. They complained. Following which, some of us had to mobilize MPs and others to send food to them in Agbogbolishi. And it was a pitiful sight. You go and see them. The stories that they told from their mouths. Okay? Apart from the distance that the food Nadmo was throwing, and you saw even the trucks. That attitude of throwing food at people, which made people to congregate without even mask and no social distancing, and they were throwing food at them. That was a massive spreader of coronavirus. This is the attitude of government. Okay? So I am saying that this government, by every stretch of the imagination, has contributed to the state of the dissonance. And then, to make it worse, justice, contact tracers who were doing their work have not been paid. Meanwhile, all these monies were supposed to be allocated. Where has the money gone? When you were supposed to do shutdown for 3 weeks, do it for 2 weeks, and the money that was left, where is the money? Today, we asked Kenofurata, Honorable Kenofurata, Minister for Finance, to come to Parliament and account. No such accounting has taken place. Justice. And so the story of the fight against coronavirus is so shabby. I think that we should not to talk about what has been done now to put it at the what they are doing at the airport now. It's amounts to an extortion. Because look at the sub-region. When people are charging just $20 and others, Ghana is charging $150. $150. It's an extortion. And it is being awarded. I'm sure the story has already come out. We did a press conference to a Nigerian friend of this president and government.
Yeah.
Okay? To mock people. And so, just if you put all this together, it is seen as another avenue for making money for the MPP government and its apparatchiks. Because clearly, there is no commitment to undertake this exercise. Now, Justice, let me come to NCC. Justice, NCC, I sit on the Communications Committee. I'm the ranking member of the Communications Committee in Parliament. And we peruse the budgets of this thing. Justice, I can tell you without any iota of doubt, and that in the 4 years of the MPP, the NCC has been grossly, and I'm just talking about grossly underfunded. I'm not even talking about their logistics. That even their capital expenditure zero. In many of the years, the budgets that come before Parliament, their capital expenditure is zero. Which means that they cannot even purchase items like vehicles, do capital items, computers and others in their offices. So, in the face of the gross underfunding of NCC, and all of us know that constitutionally, the NCC is clothed with the mandate to undertake education and sensitization of the populace on key and critical national issues. Okay? So, in a situation where you have grossly underfunded an institution, and there's an opportunity to give them vehicles, because a lot of vehicles have come into the system. So, the rational thing anybody would have expected is that an institution such as the NCC, which plays a very important role in this, you will make that allocation to them. I'm wondering how can anybody, thinking very rationally, would have rather even sought to take vehicles from an underfunded organization. Why would you do that? Because if you ask me today, if you get even 1,000 vehicles for NCC throughout the country, it will not be enough for them. In fact, just not too long ago, they themselves went on to mobilize money in the face of the government's lethargic performance in awarding them funds. Just they mobilized, and all they could get was 100 cedis per district, 100 Ghana cedis to do education in the district, 50 cedis per constituency. In my place where the district has 2 constituencies, 50 they gave Sadaro this 100 cedis, and Sadaro has Tamale North and Sadaro constituency. So 50 cedis. What can 50 cedis do? Can it even that well? To even go to any community to go and do sensitization. So in the face of these serious handicaps that they are facing, one would expect that the last thing any government would do is to take away resources from that institution again. So this is a disheartening, unpatriotic act. It's a new patriotic party, but it's committing an unpatriotic act to take away monies and vehicles, to take away vehicles from an institution that is already grossly underfunded. Justice, where are they taking the vehicles to?
Well, the inside says for campaign activities.
You see, so it tells you, if that is true, it tells you that they are prepared to sacrifice the national interest for the parochial, selfish, egocentric interest of the MPP. Because if SCC has these vehicles and they are able to move and do sensitization, it will not to the benefit of Ghanaians as a people. But because you want to take these vehicles and give it to your party activists to go and do campaign, you have sacrificed the fight against COVID-19 on the altar of the interest of the political party, of the MPP. Is this a patriotic act? Is this an act that will not to the benefit of this country? It's incredible.
All right.
This government acts in manner that already you cannot comprehend. Look, go back. The Galamsey fights, which is as dead as the COVID fight now.
It is a topic that we'll discuss.
Yes, I'm just indicating to you that vehicles were seized. You remember the seized Galamsey vehicles?
And excavated.
And they were stolen. Okay? It was the government itself. I mean, let them not say that it's NDC propaganda. The government itself came out to say that the excavators and vehicles were stolen. Eventually, we saw that some of those vehicles were in the custody of MPP functionaries. Some of them, for instance, they said Ayawaso West Wogon. Somebody went to trace his vehicle and they say you should come and see the Ayawaso West Wogon MP. During the distance, they allocated some of the 4 pickups. Okay? So, if you really have vehicles like this to release, why don't you even give it to statutory bodies? Justice. To work that will ensure that the national interest is better served.
Okay.
Justice, as we speak now, today, look at the policy they have adopted. Now, you don't even know, because of the attempt to look good on their record, the recoveries that they have taken, sometimes even without test, people are discharged in such a manner that all the basic tenets of the protocols are violated in the name of just wanting to have Ghana has fewer coronavirus cases.
Okay.
Just for the government to look good. But on the ground, justice, it is a terrible thing. Now you can hear even in Europe, they are talking of a second wave. The thing is coming up, and then because of the level of transparency and seriousness, they are able to know exactly what the numbers are, so that they can take appropriate action to deal with it.
Okay.
Here, we are sweeping it under the carpet. Today, there's no serious testing being done again. Just after the contract city is dead completely. Because after failing to pay the contract tracers, they have stopped. And so it's dead. So nobody today can tell you the state of coronavirus in Ghana today.
All right.
The true state, nobody can tell you. They only pretend that we have it under control. But justice is very scary, because everybody is interacting, and now if you see, because of the attitude of government, many people have even stopped wearing masks, which is a danger to all of us. Justice, you must have heard before you can chew corn. If we are not in a healthy state, we cannot be a productive nation. The people cannot produce. So it is important for us to hold our government accountable on this symbolic manner in which they have handled this fight against coronavirus. Just like many other facets of endeavors, like I just mentioned, the Galamsey, the incompetent manner they've handled this Galamsey, and it's all dead. Okay. So justice, that's why I told you that when the house has fallen, you don't ask whether the roof is still standing.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable. When the house has fallen, you don't ask if the roof is still standing. All right. So I'm currently on the Ghana Health Service COVID-19 dashboard, and I would want to give an update before I bring Idrisu in. New cases 22, active cases 336. Now confirmed cases 47,173. Recoveries plus discharged and all of that stands at 46,527, and deaths 310. If we still have some active cases, Idrisu, why then government or the New Patriotic Party government would be demanding that COVID-19 pickup trucks that were given to NCC be brought back for campaign activities?
Well, thank you so very much. I think that I will not allow myself, or I will not be invited to discuss something that can best be described as a deliberate attempt to, as it were, denigrate the gains that we have made as a political party in government vis-a-vis the COVID-19, issues are concerned. I think that I have noticed something that is very, very loud and clear, even in this particular studio. Just as Honorable A.B. Fisemi was, speaking, indeed, he made mention that, and I quote, I'm just going to quote him verbatim.
Exactly.
Yes, he said that the basic tenets of the protocols have been violated. He was on screen. When he was speaking, he virtually, because it is not for nothing that that particular basic tenets of the protocols has actually continues to be played into the, into the ears of every Ghanaian. That these basic, tenets of the protocol should be observed. He pulled down his nose marks and was, shouting virtually, for want of a better expression. So I think that it is very prudent when, you yourself, who indeed are advocating for certain proper things to be done, you yourself should be an example to the good people of Ghana, because we are all being recorded. I think that the government of this particular administration have actually done tremendously well when it comes to issues of this particular COVID-19. Now, I would want to make a juxtapositions in terms of issues regarding, for want of a better expression, issues that had to do with unforeseen contingencies or circumstances in terms of the economy of Ghana. Now, during the NDC administration, we were greeted with DUMSO. Is that okay? Now, DUMSO became a very, very huge challenge to the extent that it actually, contracted the economy of Ghana each and every day, according to Imani Ghana, that Ghana was losing in excess of $2 million United States dollars as a result of DUMSO. Now, there was no practical evidence that the government of the day, that is the NDC, actually demonstrated in order that they were able to curb this particular problem. Fast forward to the NPP administration. NPP administration, unfortunately as it is, we were greeted with COVID-19. And indeed, when the NPP administration was greeted with COVID-19, what did we do as a government? That for me should be, the critical issues that must inform, or as it were, attract the attention of the good people of Ghana, rather than come to sit here and wax lyrical and think that at the end of the day.
In your earlier submission, you talked about the fact that the reportage is to denigrate the gains made by government when it comes to fight against COVID-19.
Exactly.
Am I right?
Exactly.
So now I'm going to ask some basic questions. Did government ask that NCCE bring the buses or the pickup trucks that were given to them?
So these are the critical issues that if you are not careful, you might think that the government have not
demanded for the pickup trucks.
So you see, exactly. So first of all, I also have to ask myself, where exactly is this particular report coming from? And indeed, you made mention that it is coming from the Insight newspaper. For me, as we speak now, I am not in a position to say whether or not, this particular newspaper can be credible in the eyes of the Ghanaian, population. But for me, believe
you can be in a position to tell. That government has called for the pickup trucks.
I think that when Honorable A.B. Fisini was speaking, we were not interjecting.
So, but you see, Inside newspaper and Pan-African television has, a relationship.
Okay.
And I won't sit here for you to discredit Inside newspaper, in other words, discrediting Pan-African television, because it has been captured by our paper and being discussed on Pan-African television. And so I'll ask you the necessary question. You are in government. You are a government communicator. You must be aware that government is calling for the pickup trucks that were given to NCCE for COVID-19 fight. Is that true or false?
Now, the newspaper alleged that the government have recalled those particular pickups in order that they would use it to, as it were,
but has government called for the pickup trucks?
So that is why I'm saying that, you see, Justice, I am not in any way trying to cast insinuations or doubts or whatever, to this particular, station. But what I want you to understand is that I don't need to come and sit here to justify a particular claim that I don't actually have a grasp of knowledge about. That is number one. That is very critical. And that for me, I think is one of the, the disadvantages of people who don't actually have, certain informations, and they would come sit here and pretend as if to suggest that they know,
so if you have no information on the report,
that is why I'm saying
do you discredit the newspaper that carried the story?
You see, the prompter, there was a particular issue that I found very, very suspicious about. Why would the government of the day, through SEC, that they have actually gifted, gave these particular vehicles to for purposes of education in respect of what's called the COVID-19 fight, will turn again and recall those particular vehicles back, not for any other purpose, but to use it for political party campaign. Please, does that sound?
But you are saying that you have no idea of.
No, just look at that particular issue. Does that sound well?
Everything is possible.
Oh, come on, my brother. So you see, I'm not holding brief for Pan-African TV.
But I'm not for government on a situation
I
you have
am
no idea
casting
about.
a shadow of doubt in this particular report.
You say you have doubted the reportage,
Exactly.
but do you not say that it has been meant to denigrate the gains made against?
Well, I think that these are matters of semantics. Maybe I have not communicated well, but believe you me, what I wanted to say was that I find this particular report very suspicious in the sense that why should the government of the day recall those particular pickups ostensibly to use it for purposes of campaign? That for me doesn't gel. Okay, so I think that we should, as it were, take notice of this particular thing. And believe you me, this is a calculated propaganda that the NDC would continue to peddle around, just as Honorable Appiah Fuseni have demonstrated. I don't know why he decided to walk out. I believe he was.
So I
wish he was actually monitoring.
No, wait a minute. I want us to score.
Please, if you allow me,
I'll allow you. But let's settle the score on the reportage on the front page of the Inside newspaper. Would you say that you do not have much information on the reportage, or you still stand by your earlier, submission that the reportage is meant to denigrate the gains made by government on COVID-19?
Yes, I stand on the feet that that reportage for me is actually meant to paint the government of the day black in terms of our fight against COVID-19. So please, if you allow me,
let's do this.
When Honorable Appiah Fuseni was speaking, because I'm going to demonstrate to you what the government have done in terms of mitigating.
No, wait a minute. Don't do this because Honorable Appiah Fuseni did not discredit Pan-African television. Neither did he discredited the reportage on the front page of the Inside newspaper. And I'm telling you that Inside newspaper and Pan-African television are the same. You can't sit here and discredit a newspaper of that and get away with it. And I'm saying that you are saying that this is meant, and you still stand by that it is meant to of course, denigrate government in whatever way. Fantastic. I don't have any problem with that. But is it true or false that government has called or recalled for the pickup trucks that were given to NCCE?
Okay, so simple.
Yes or no? Is it true or false?
As simple as that. I don't have knowledge about that.
Why would you want to discredit a reportage on something you have no knowledge about?
I'm sure that.
You see,
I'm not.
Okay, never mind.
I just want to straighten the debate so that see, when you raise an issue, for you to counter something, you must have evidence. If I say this thing is 5 and you say no, it's not 5, it's not enough for you to just say it's not 5. But you must tell me that no, I have it on record, it's 2.
Okay,
but you don't discredit something and say that no, I don't have information. Are you discrediting
there is also a counter question.
I don't have a problem with your submission. I have a problem with where you are discrediting. I mean, the newspaper on its reportage.
Justice, I understand you. I apologize for that, but believe you me, this is another critical question that I also pose to Honorable.
Yes.
Has the daily news, Inside newspaper provided evidence to the effect that that particular cast has been recalled ostensibly, and ostensibly to be used for party political campaign?
Have you read the newspaper in the first?
You understand? So for me, let's not belabor this particular point. Allow me to talk.
Ghana Web has carried it out. So let me have the newspaper. You see, let's not sit here
the fact that you don't have the
and start discrediting newspapers when we do not even read the newspaper.
The fact that you don't know about it doesn't mean it's not true. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so
the doubt. I didn't even do anything. I don't think you would be truncating my
no. I'll give you the
opportunity to talk
for you to make your submission. Okay. But I think that we'd have to settle this. The story is captured on page 3 of the Inside newspaper. COVID-19 fights in limbo as government collect pickup trucks from NCC for campaign activities. Efforts to defeat the coronavirus COVID-19 in Ghana through day-to-day awareness, creation, and education on hand washing and other safety protocols by the National Commission for Civic Education appears to have been weakened with a directive for the Commission to return vehicles it is using to undertake the exercise. Even though Ghana has recorded a decline in cases of coronavirus infections over the past 3 months, there are fears that attempts to halt public sensitization activities about the deadly disease could affect the gains chalked within the past few months. Already, Upper East Region, according to the latest Ghana Health Service update on the coronavirus, has taken a second position in terms of active cases in the country. However, public education activities, which were started by NCC and aided with the provision of pickup trucks by the government, has suffered with a retrieval of most of the vehicles for campaign activities. The Insight has gathered a highly placed official told this paper on condition of anonymity that the government has collected half of the 50 vehicles it allocated to the NCC for campaigning. There has been no official statement from the government, but citing other urgent national assignments, he has asked the National Commission for Civic Education to return 25 out of the 50 vehicles it received to boost its COVID-19 public sensitization exercise. The government in June this year donated 50 Isuzu pickup trucks to the Commission to embark on the COVID-19 safety campaign. Addressing the media on COVID-19 pandemic and other related matters, the chairperson of NCC, Josephine Nkrumah, said the reason that was assigned to this directive was that the cars were needed for other urgent national assignments. There are other activities which are competing with what we are doing, she said. She however added that despite the shortfall, the Commission will continue to do the best they can, given the logistics that they have. She urged political party leadership to, in their campaign activities, adopt measures that will reduce the spread of COVID-19. Now, this is what an Inside newspaper has reported. Do you have anything contrary to what the Inside newspaper has reported?
All right, fantastic. I think that according to your report, you've said that, according to the findings or investigations coming from the Inside newspaper, that they have actually gotten information
from highly placed
sources. These are the kind of language that, most newspapers would just say to walk away with the fact of what, bringing evidence to back your claim. I am not in any way, for me, I think that I am not in a position to believe that particular story, especially in the angle that insists that that particular recall is meant for those particular vehicles to be used for party campaigning. I think that I have my right to as it were, to have that particular opinion of mine. Now, let me also demonstrate to you what the NPP administration have done in terms of the COVID-19 fight ever since this particular, conundrum visited us. What was it about in terms of our mitigating, measures that the NPP administration did to be able to, as it were, absorb some of the impact? Now, this
wait a minute. You disbelieve the newspaper? No, I'll allow you to make your point, but I won't let you go scot-free on this. The NCC boss actually spoke, and in this paper she talked about the fact that 25 out of the 50 pickup trucks were recalled for other important assignments. That wasn't mentioned to her. What is that assignment, very important assignment, that government would want the 25 pickups to embark on that were not communicated to the general public? So the pickups were purchased with taxpayers' money. Ghanaians need to know what those 25 pickups were recalled for.
Yes. Ghanaians actually really deserve the courtesy to know those particular issues. Now, I think that those with the Inside newspaper journalists that went to interview the lady, I think they should have actually continued to probe further to find out what she meant by the record to be, for it to be used for other equally important assignments. And that way they would have been doing Ghanaians a good job in that.
And that was done. That was where we tell you that highly placed sources in government are telling us that the pickups that were recalled for the so-called important assignments were not important assignments as they were, but for campaign activities. And that is what we have reported. And you are saying that that was said to denigrate government on the gains made on COVID-19 fight. And I'm saying that, what evidence do you have as against the further probe by Inside newspaper within government sources to tell us that, look, these were meant for campaign activities but not any important assignment as stated by government to the NCC?
So the evidence is that if Ghana government purchase or acquire any asset in the name of the Republic, it is not the property of any political party.
Okay.
You understand? So I am actually basing my line of argument in terms of that particular angle of thought. Because if a government procures certain equipments, etc., for the good people of Ghana, it becomes the asset of the nation. So why will the government of the day wants to use that particular property or assets for its political campaign? That is actually where I have actually established my line of departure. So for me, that is why I said that it is not that maybe I didn't communicate well in terms of, because you might think that I wanted to denigrate TV, Pan-African TV, or that of the daily inside newspaper. But believe you me, this is the stand that I have. So if you allow me, I also demonstrate to you what the NPP administration have done in terms of curbing this, or as it were mitigating this particular issue of the COVID-19. Now, since the inception of the COVID-19 as at the end of July 2020, these are some of the critical issues that the government of Ghana did. One, $100 million US preparedness plan was issued. Now there was this particular life insurance for health and allied personnel directly involved in the fight, in the fight against the pandemic. You understand? So some form of health insurance scheme was instituted for them. Now we also came to food supplies. The Ghana government provided cooked meals to 2,744,723 vulnerable persons living within the society. Now, in collaboration these are figures that can easily be be identified. In collaboration with the faith-based organizations, distributed dry packages of 470,000 families was actually done to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. Now there was another 584,000 final year junior high school students and 146,000 staff of public and private schools that actually were provided with hot meals from August 24th to September 18th, as they write their final exam. Now, as we speak now, I believe when Honorable was coming here, of course he bathed. His wife maybe washed her clothes. His clothes. All these things were some of the mitigating factors. I'm talking about this particular free, water that actually, you always get flowing into your taps. This is a mitigating, measure. So for me, I think that, and of course, there was that particular waiver of income tax of 50% additional allowances paid to frontline health workers. These, I don't want to bore you with. There are so many things that the government of Ghana have actually done towards this particular, pandemic. And, it is not that maybe everybody would want to, as it were, nobody is happy for this particular situation that Ghana have found itself in terms of the COVID-19. Elsewhere, like my brother indicated, COVID-19 has become a very serious issue that have actually taken lives, millions of lives. But we cannot celebrate because maybe the death rate of Ghana, is not on the high side. It is not, for me, it is not a plus, because if one person dies as a result of COVID-19, it is a worrying situation. So I think that these are some of the issues that must attract the attention of the good people of Ghana. Look, I think that what Honorable ABFCNU was talking about in terms of all manner of things, to the extent that, according to him, that a particular fund was actually being raised, dotted across the districts in Ghana, and that in his district, that is Sarnago district, that NCC only got the 100 Ghana cedis. I mean, this is laughable. I mean, so, and this actually plays into this particular global idea within the NDC, party communicators to always spew out certain unverifiable claims just so to make the whole situation look murky. For me, I think that, and of course, they are very, very much careful, about that. So they are operating on this Gobelian theory and Henry Kissinger's theory of the bigger the lie, the more believable it is. So when you come and sit here and speak with high tone, you think that maybe the good people of Ghana would accept what you are taking, what you are saying, hook, line, and sinker. So for me, I think that we should get serious as a country, rather than, trying to poo-poo every, issues that the government of the day is doing in order to be able to curb this particular menace. Look, going into the post-COVID-19 economy, the IMF, the World Bank, and even, other rating agencies have actually printed, as it were, printing a very brighter future for Ghana, to the extent that they are saying that, look, Ghana is actually going to rise very quickly, in this particular post-COVID-19 era. So I think it is about time we try to appreciate whatever is going on in this country, rather than wanting to, play the ostrich and pretend as if nothing is happening.
Thank you so much, my brother.
May I come in?
No, we need to move on to.
No, I just want to make one or two comments.
We have to move on to the next topic. When I give you your turn, you can decide to.
Okay, all right.
But I'll start with you on this, Honorable. Akufo-Addo has lost fight against armed robbery. Daily Post story on pages 6 and 7, and that was said by former President John Dramani Mahama. And we'll box these two stories together. Proliferation of small arms, lack of confidence in security agencies, the cause. The two.
Justice, first and foremost, let me use the opportunity to clear some misconception about Quebec of Ghanaians. Their attitude towards Ghanaians is that our IQs are not up to what they have. So they can peddle some very strange things and believe that Ghanaians will believe it. But I can tell you the good people of this country are very intelligent people, more intelligent than they in the MPP. And on the day of reckoning, they will see it.
Very well.
Where justice, go to many communities and find out whether they are enjoying any free water. Where is the water? There has to be water in the first place. How many people have water flowing through their taps? When we, under the NDC, even places like Teshi, when we did the desalinization plant and water was flowing to they came and locked it. It collapsed under their watch. So you go and tell those people that they are enjoying free water. Where is the water in the first place for them to enjoy free water? You are limiting it to a few tanker services and others that you are talking about. And where is it coming from? So look, the earlier said about the prospects of growing. Why? Ghana, justice. Ghana will record the lowest growth in the West African sub-region. Lowest. Even Burkina Faso and others, they are going to grow more than Ghana. 0.9%. And this is a government. Listen to them. They were touting their credentials that they have a robust, resilient economy. Ally. 2 weeks of coronavirus, only 2 weeks. The whole thing collapsed. They couldn't even find money to even meet basic coronavirus needs. They have to go and borrow from the IMF. Look at them. So I think that's why I indicated to you that, look, the MPP, they are falling already. You don't need to ask whether their infrastructure is anywhere. Why did Nana Akufo-Addo run away from the infrastructure debate? If he had actually done any work in that regard. So, Justice, the least said about this, the better. Now, Justice, it is a very worrying phenomenon, culminating in just not things that have happened to our honorable colleague, as I said.
Yeah.
But many Ghanaians, even before this incident happened, many Ghanaians have had cause to complain about what they've encountered on our roads. The incidents of armed robbery and crime, general crime. Justice, not too long ago, the police issued this. Virtually all the statistics of crime were up. Everything has gone up. I said this before and they wanted to take me on. I said everything has gone up except something. You see, justice, everything has gone up. And for you to look at it, it tells you a certain story. That it is underlain by gross incompetence and interference and a culture of impunity that has been sown by this government. That is when people go and commit monumental crimes. And government itself, not opposition, government itself set up committee, a commission of inquiry. And the commission of inquiry says that, look, these people have been caught in the grievous violation of the laws of the country. They have committed monumental crimes. They ought to be punished. Government's own commission of inquiry, they shred it and throw it in the dustbin. What signal are you sending out there? You are creating a culture of impunity, that the law does not work, that you can go and commit those crimes and get away. So why do you think crime will not be on the ascendancy? No wonder. Crime is on the ascendancy. Just this is a government that has the highest security infrastructure. You even have very nebulous appointments like, you have a minister for national security. You have a minister of state in charge of national security. What is that?
Very.
What kind of appointment is that? National security, there's a minister of state, national security coordinator, national security deputy coordinator, national security, nebulous. Apart from the statutory IGP, CDS, all those other ones we can talk about. You see all these sideline appointees. Many appointees. And where is the result? Look at the result. So what is the benefit to the taxpayer? That the taxpayer is footing a very high bill on those who are supposed to help us fight crime. And the crime is on the ascendancy. So are they working? So justice, I think that, look, if you attempt to appraise this government on so many, just like security, the security failures they've had. And let me take this opportunity justice to comment just briefly on this issue of, because it is a topical issue that many people have commented on, and they have been very unfair to members of parliament.
Exactly.
I'm not speaking because I'm a member of parliament. But justice, all Article 71 office holders, judges, government appointees, ministers, deputy ministers, name all of them, they are given security protection. The only people who are not given protection is MPs. So in the first case, if we are against security being given to those appointees, we should do it on a collective basis. Why do we wait when they say it is only MPs they are going to now provide who have not been given all these years? Then we are up in arms. MPs are seen as an elite people. The judges that get them, they are what? The ministers that get them, the deputy ministers, the other over 2,000 Nana Akufo-Addo appointees, many of them who get it. What happens? What happens to them? Justice, when we talk about democracy, there are three organs of government: the legislature, executive, judiciary, aligned. Yeah. In which of the other two organs do they practice democracy? Is there democracy in the judiciary? Do they practice democracy on a daily basis in the judiciary? And in the executive? It is only in parliament. Parliament is a bastion of democracy. That is where, number one, you have representation from all parts of this country. There's no part of this country where you will not have representation in parliament. You don't have that in the executive. Even there have been times when governments have been appointed and no minister comes from a certain region, a whole region. Okay? Not to talk about even constituencies and areas. There's no constituency, there's no town, there's no village where there's no representation in parliament. So when you're talking about democracy, the bastion of democracy is in parliament. Yet MPs are not provided with that protection. Justice, today, if anything happens, maybe just because we are very close to our election, we can no longer have an election, a by-election.
Okay.
But justice, if anything untoward happens to an MP and he loses his life or can no longer function as an MP, and there's going to be a by-election, it's a huge cost to this country. Apart from the logistics and others, the time, the resources and others that this country will incur in going through a by-election is huge. So even if you consider that, and some protection is given to MPs to prevent anything happening to any of them, justice, that in itself is a savings to the country. than for the MP to be left ajar. Something happens to him, then you go and organize a by-election.
Yeah.
Okay, even from that rational, simple point, you can even see what is going on. That it's a loss to the benefit of the state. Okay.
All right.
And
okay.
If you talk about this protection that is going to be given, I have argued that look, MPs should not see themselves as elite. We are not. We are part and parcel of society. And so for me, the answer is to give security to all Ghanaians. The best form of securing Ghanaians is to make sure that the environment is so robust that crime will be expensive to commit.
All right.
We should mount a huge clampdown on criminal elements and be able to deal with criminal elements in such a manner that they can no longer pose a veritable threat to the peace, order, and stability of the country. So when we do that, the ultimate security for all Ghanaians will ensure a sanitary environment in such a way that no MP will even need security. Even the Article 71 office holder, they are giving security, they will not need it.
Oh, honorable.
Because the argument is that our police to population ratio is still poor.
It's supposed to be 1:500, but now it's 1:800.
Yes. So yes, admittedly. So, and that's why I'm arguing. When they were providing for the judiciary, did you hear any decision that our police to population is low? Did you hear that argument?
Not at all.
They were giving it to appointees, ministers. They are getting. Have you heard that argument? Why is it that when it has just been mooted that MPs should be given this in, it is a national issue? Hey, hue and cry. MPs think they are a special breed of people. That is a very unfair argument.
All right.
I'm not saying this by any stretch of logic because I'm a member of parliament. By the grace of Allah. And in any case, justice, even that protection they are talking about, let's be very straightforward with it. It's to give me, in the performance of their duties in parliament. When the man finishes at 4 o'clock, when the MP he goes to his house. So when the MP is leaving for his way to his house, what happens to him? When he's in his house, what happens to him? When he's coming from this into parliament, what happens to him? So you see, it is not a matter that some holistic measure has been taken to protect MPs.
Kindly step down
as an elite group of people. Yeah, I just brought this in. So my answer, I'm landing now. Okay. My answer now is that government must work assiduously. So far, this government has failed woefully to bring the security to scratch. Okay. In spite of the security, highest number in the history of the country of security people they have. They must work to sanitize the environment so that Ghanaians will feel safe. Okay. Go and read the 2016 manifesto of the MPP. They are sure that Ghanaians will feel very safe and work from morning to night without any fear. Today, even my brother Idris knows, even himself when he's going home, Charlie, he will look over his shoulder uncountable times. He knows.
Oh, no. Thank you so much.
So he himself, he knows that he's not safe.
All right. Thank you so much.
So, justice, when your watchman himself needs security, the landlord is in trouble.
Exactly. Benjamin.
So I think earlier I wanted to rebut.
No, but let's box this two together. My time is running briefly.
Yeah, briefly.
Akufo-Addo has lost the fight against armed robbery, and then proliferation of small arms, lack of confidence in security agencies' cause.
Okay, I think that I would like to go generally on security. There are many challenges in our security setup because of certain unresolved deaths and recent killings happening in our national security architecture. I think this is not the MP is not the first to die on this particular robbery attack, right? We had one in Ashanti region. We had one lady Josephine Asante.
You mean MP?
No, in recent, like the second.
The only MP was JB Dankwa.
So in recent one, this is the second. But we had Josephine Asante, GPHA, or Ghana Post and Harbour Authority.
Yeah.
An unresolved death, right? In Ashanti region, there have been about 5 or 6 unresolved deaths.
Okay.
All of these things.
Ahmed Swale,
an unresolved death. So when people read and hear some of these things, the question they ask is, are we safe in this country? We are not safe because honorable here, being a member of parliament, who should hold the executive accountable, is somewhat part of the executive, so they are not able to hold the executive accountable.
I'm not part of the executive.
I'm not saying you, but the parliament, okay. Somewhat. Okay. I mean the parliament.
Is legislature.
No, but somewhat executive. You see, when we, in principle, we say that we have the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive.
What you say is that there are some.
But in practice, we have some legislatures who are executive, and for that matter, our legislature cannot hold government, the executive accountable. And for that matter, we have these security challenges. There's this issue coming up that our security setup, one, has been influenced by political apparatchiks like Honorable and Co, maybe NDC and MPP. When the MPP wins power, you realize that the security setup is made up of their full soldiers, their invisible forces, their Delta forces, their whatever forces. When NDC also wins, they bring their Bolga boot, or you have Bolga or Azoka boats.
Bolga boot does.
Okay, but you have Azoka boat. They also transform their Azoka boys into the national security center. Some of these guys do not even have the intelligence, right? The ability to be security personnel, but in any way they find themselves.
Point out an Azoka boy in the security services when President Mama was in power. I
cannot point out, but in practice they are there.
I
think when the Ayawa,
I can show you Delta forces and others, double and their brothers.
Okay.
Plenty.
When the Ayawa West wagon incident happened, we all watch the committee.
Okay.
Where others were trained for only 2 weeks and made national security.
Missing a double.
Right? Made national security capos or national security officials. These are bad. So until we do away, we stop the political interference in our national security setup, my brother, this issue of killings and unresolved death will continue to linger in our attempt. Now there's issues of arms, illegal arms in the system.
Okay.
My brother, there are illegal arms in this system, particular system. What happened at Kaswa?
I'm told there are about 200,000 illegal
arms in the system. So why are they in? Because politicians, right, especially the NPP and the NDC, are manning their members, their bodyguards who don't know anything about security. They are manning them with arms. And when something happens, a whole MP can take a gun from like a bodyguard and shoot it in public and say, "Oh, I was defending myself."
Who's the MP?
Oh, what did you see when okay, you mentioned the name. How was it?
Mention the name. Don't be way.
So you see, these are things happening. So when an MP is able to, I think she's also part of executive, right?
Yes,
an MP
she's a minister.
Stroke executive. And Honorable is here. In conclusion, I want to respond to Honorable. The reason why Ghanaians are saying, and we shall continue to say that MP should not be given police protection, is that we want the Parliament House to work in the interest of Ghanaians. If Parliament starts to hold executive accountable and hold them accountable in the sense that Ghanaians are dying, give them good security, and you call for good security, Ghanaians, oh, at least our Parliament is doing something good for us. But if Parliament sits lazily, idly, and now crying, oh, we want security, while things are not in good shape in this country, we will continue to resist. Parliament should, no parliamentarian should be given any special police protection. They are there to fight in the interest of the ordinary Ghanaian. He is there to fight in the interest of his constituents.
What about ministers, judges, and all those people?
You see, these arguments people make.
No, but if you're making an argument that members of Parliament should not be given security.
The president, right? The president is the.
What about the executive and the judiciary?
Okay, let me answer you. Let me answer you. Now, the president, we vote for the president.
Briefly, so that
we vote for the president. We don't vote. When the executive is made up of only one person, who is the president.
Okay.
The president only appoints people to assist him in his work. Now, in our constitution, in the wisdom of those who made the constitution, they realize that no, if you allow the executive to have this way, our security setup may not be the best, because the executive always will do things to benefit. So the Parliament House, who represents, or the parliamentarian who represent Ghanaians, right, who represent Ghanaians well, should put the executive in check. The Parliament has gone to sleep. So executive people are saying, oh, executive are having policemen. The executive are having policemen because the policemen are serving the president, not the ministers. You have to get this in place. Maybe you may not have it as logical, but because we voted for the president, we only vote for the president, and the president is a gentleman. Oh, we vote for MPs, that's right.
Yes.
But in our constitution, the president is supreme.
The president is not.
He's the first gentleman.
He's not omnipotent.
He's not omnipotent per your logic, but the constitution makes the president the supreme of this republic.
Yes, but he's not omnipotent.
I didn't say that. You are now maybe pushing words in my mouth. So in wrapping up, this argument of judges and the executive or the president having security personnel or police maybe guarding them or protecting them doesn't hold. If Parliament does its work well, Ghanaians will now call for parliamentarians should also be protected. And I think I'm happy when he said that when Parliament puts the executive in check or everybody in check, at least the security will be good for everybody in this country, so that there will not even be a need for a call for only parliamentarians should be protected. Because if you say parliamentarians should be protected, music producers should be protected, because Kenneth Ochre died. Till date, no one knows how he died.
Is the minister more Ghanaian than any other human being?
I think
is the judge more Ghanaian than any other human being? If they are protected, parliamentarians are equally calling for protection, and you are saying that they shouldn't be protected.
I think even
then what lies your justification for you allowing the ministers, judges to be protected, but the parliamentarians shouldn't be protected?
My issue, you have not had it. You have not. I'll try to explain it further.
No, you are saying that they've not done their work. What work are you expecting them to do?
So maybe let me just
Ben.
Briefly, let me come to my brother and then we go.
It will not be fair to MPs if you just said that they have not held, especially in the minority. We have held the feet of government to the fire of accountability. And I'm sure that if you follow the procedures in Parliament, you will be left with no doubt that there are many instances where Parliament as an institution, both minority and majority, will summon the IGP and others to come to Parliament to answer issues about security.
So Ben, on that
conclusion,
so because we have the majoritarian system, where majority will just vote. So it is not fair.
I will not take one side and say minority is working well or majority is. I'm saying the whole parliamentarians are not serving the interest Ghanaians want them to serve. They are not holding the executive accountable and do the right things for Ghanaians. In other way, I'm saying that the reason why we are saying that you and everyone is saying, oh, ministers have been protected by police. Ministers are being protected by police because the ministers indirectly are the president. They are working for the president.
All right.
Not themselves.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your submission. Now, take us home, my brother.
Yes.
They are working for the president. So they deserve security. MPs are working for.
No, the police are working for the president. They are protecting the president, not the minister.
Benjamin, allow him. Okay. My brother, take us home. Yeah.
Yes. I think that this is a very serious issue that must call for attention, because see, security situation, regardless of what particular political party is in power, is very critical, and the deliberate attempt to politicize security situation as we have it is just very much unfortunate.
Okay.
Now, an honorable, demonstrated, or as it were, wanted to create a particular picture to suggest that this particular current administration, the security situation, have actually gone haywire. And it reminds me of, of the time, the NDC was in power, to the extent that the sitting president himself found the need to get himself, a pistol. That encapsulates the nature of the security situation that we have it at that particular time.
You said the president.
John Dramani Mahama decided this. Yes.
Where was that?
Lord have mercy. So you see, he doesn't have the facts.
That you found that suddenly President
Mahama. He went and acquired a pistol. Go and check.
Where did he acquire the pistol?
Are you saying that President Kufuor do not have?
No, just wait, please. Where did he acquire the pistol?
That demonstrated the level at which
where did he acquire the pistol?
As at that time.
Where did he acquire?
I don't allow you to interject me.
No, because we are making a claim.
I didn't interject.
Yeah, but I didn't say anything.
Lord have mercy. Can I land?
Yeah, but you have to prove that.
Honorable, you see, this is unfair to me. This is unfair to me.
But
now the NDC administration, or the NDC as a political party, through covert and overt, what is it called, expressions, have actually made Ghanaians to become aware that they would not allow this particular, NPP administration to govern well. That is how come that as we speak now, no less a person than the national chairman of the NDC is in court because, in their cocoon meeting, tape recordings were made to the effect that, he actually, as it were, I don't want to mention those particular because it is even in court. They wanted, or based on that, they insisted that they should, as a political party, ensure that
no competent court of jurisdiction has pronounced him guilty.
You understand? So that is it doesn't mean that particular issue.
Let's leave the court.
Now another situation. His next in command, the first national vice chairman of the NDC, was caught on tape video
saying what?
Internally, saying that admonishing his people, that is his members and his collaborators, that if anybody comes to your household, as a member of the NPP, coming to show you what we are doing as a government, that you should do what? You should finish them. He said it. So these are the high-level problems that the people of Ghana are confronted with. So for me,
you've had a
I am not in any way.
Wait a minute. When you are talking, allow yourself to be asked a question. Under the erstwhile administration, we had a member of parliament on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party who said that Airways and guns should be killed in the Ashanti region.
So we also believe that a politics of equalization. That is how come I said that if we go into this particular tangent, we will lose the beauty of the discussion. So you see, these are some of the issues that is actually going on. Now, I would want to share the same sentiments expressed by Honorable Appiah Fiseni in terms of MPs, having the need to also be deployed security personnel to guide them. Because look, we seem to pretend as if MPs are just mere legislators and that should be all. They are carrying a very important function so long as the three arms of government is concerned.
Right.
So I think that I am 100% in support of that particular call for the MPs to be given security, because we cannot continue to be losing this particular people because of the fact that people can just have direct access to them because of lack of security. Because look, like I said, in any way, all members of parliament, because of the legislative functions that they perform, they are also, if you like, developmental oriented people. That is how come they are given every quarter or every year the MP's common fund. So I think that it is about time we try to redefine and ensure that we bring dignity to the to the MPs, so that at the end of the day we can be assured of ourselves that yes, these are the persons who are actually making laws for Ghana, and for that matter they must be protected. Like he said, all Article 71 office holders are actually, as it were, assigned security details in one way or the other. Why can't we extend that particular courtesy to the MP? So yes, I am 100% in support of that.
All right.
Thank you so much.
So I mean, but thank you so much for your submission. But
Ben,
wait a minute.
No, it's true. But
I'm asking
what is the motivation?
briefly. In your earlier submission, I mean briefly, so that we go. In your earlier submission, you talked about the fact that the former president acquired a pistol and all of that. Assuming that is true, why are Ghanaians not allowed to acquire arms for themselves?
No.
Ghanaians are not allowed to acquire
No, I mean Ghanaians are allowed to acquire them if you are able to go through the rigors of the law. I only mentioned that to demonstrate to you the nature of the security situation we have as at that time, to the extent that the sitting president saw the need to have a pistol. Always to the fact that look, there are so many security apparatus that would continue to guide him, until he God chooses to truncate his life. So that is what I'm trying to say.
So with all this,
thank you so much for submission. Let me take two messages. Good morning, Justice, and to your panel. The MPP man is not telling us why they have collected the pickups, but rather what they have done to the fight against COVID-19. He has set his own questions and he's answering them. Thank you so much for your message. This one says, good morning, Pan-African Television. Yao from Tamale T-Poly. Kindly tell the MPP man to keep quiet because he's not speaking to facts. All right, thank you so much for your message. This one says, if Ghana is not a banana republic, how can Japan and Abronya say they know something about the killing of a Koheford and the police is quiet without inviting them? It's mind-boggling. This is President Akufo-Addo's Ghana for you. Shameful. Stephen and Esuta Boam. Thank you so much, Stephen, for your message. Good morning, Justice. Rede. I am an individual and a leader. Whenever I talk, it turned out to be a lie. I spent the public money to carry my stool everywhere. I borrowed money than any other person else in the world, but has nothing to show for it. Under me, ministers can shoot, vigilante groups can kill, but I'm never aware of it. I collect dubious monies from trainees in the name of writing licensure exams after I deliberately failed half of them. I also refused to post them but forced them to do national service. I am the captain and founder of that word brought a lot of issues in this country. I am the captain and founder of Achimsa Kawa Boys. Who I am, Francis Ahovi from OEB. Francis, me, I don't have answer to that. Your riddle, you are the only person who can answer that. I beg you. Please, Honorable Ebio Fuseni's nose mask was not given to him by the MPP as part of the $1 billion from IMF. Today is Friday. Mr. MPP, don't defend your party's lies. Thank you so much for these people. Finally, let me take the Good Morning Pan African TV. Please tell the MPP man that they should pay my 50% from Frontline Health. He's a frontline health worker and he's asking of her, 50% payment and all of that. If you say you have paid, then somebody is asking you guys to.
Just let me put this.
We need to go.
3.5 years, the MPP has borrowed 137 billion. Under President Mahama, the borrowing for that period was about 69 billion. Compare what President Mahama did with 69 billion with what Nana Akufo-Addo has done with 137 billion. It's a food for thought for Ghanaians.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable, for coming. Thank you so much, Benjamin. Thank you so much, Idrisu, for coming. I'm so grateful. This is what time allows on the program for today. Make a time with us same time next week. My name is Justice Appiah, and I've sat in for my brother Kwame Owusu Danso. Is a bit under the weather, so unfortunately yesterday and today he couldn't make it. Thank you all so much, my cameraman, Mr. Mensah, Budu, Foster, and all the guys in the studio. Thank you all so much. Also to my director Eden, thank you so much. My soundman Titi, and everyone who was part of the production. My producers Latifa Makiza, and whoever has been part of the production today. I'm so grateful. Goodbye.